All right, so we're not live, but we're recording.
Yeah, I got
But
you.
but yeah, actually I picked up that Full Metal Alchemist poster. I think it's called a store Pop Cult here in town. You're actually from this area, right? Like
Yeah.
technically from the
Mm-hmm.
upstate.
Gaffney.
Gaffney? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So, like, did you just end up leaving? Like, because you're in the military still, right?
hmm
Okay. So you just ended up, I guess they got you traveling all over the world, huh?
no, they just sent me out here to Arizona, and I've been chilling.
Oh yeah. Do
Yeah,
they got you scorching over there like a pepperoni?
absolutely. Like 115 degrees the other day. I was like, what?
Oh no, man. Like
And
I'd lose weight doing that, man.
but
Like
I do. I sit and lose weight. Yeah.
it's just like a sauna out there.
Well, see, like there's no humidity, and so people think that makes it like better. But have you ever stuck your head in the oven while it's on at like 400 degrees?
Not really, but I've had my head outside and felt it. Not
Well, yeah, I know, not really. No, well, I'm saying that's what it feels like because the sun here, relentless,
okay.
absolute. Like even with a sunshade in your car, right in the front window, keep the
Yeah.
sun out. You get in the car, your steering wheel hot to touch. Don't get me started on the seatbelt. Anything metal, eh,
just just like a scorching hot iron, huh?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's
I,
rough.
I mean, but well, okay, so yeah, you've lived here. Like, as far as like the culture out there, what would you say? Would you say you prefer Arizona more than say South Carolina?
There's there's bits and pieces of things that I miss from South Carolina.
Yeah,
Not the whole thing, though.
not the whole thing.
Yeah, not the whole thing.
Well,
Uh,
maybe had you been in Spartanburg, or Greenville, you might have had a better experience.
well, my wife is from Spartanburg, and she feels the same way I
Uh,
do.
okay, well, I mean, maybe she caught that side of Spartanburg that we call Murderburg. I don't know, but
Uh, it's well, I went to Pensacola, Florida as well, and it wasn't.
oh, I've always wanted to go there.
It's all right. Downtown Pensacola gets a little trashy,
Oh yeah,
yeah, a little sketchy. Um, but you know, cities, that's where they
yeah,
are.
that's true. I always thought it was interesting over here how it was always right by the police department that like all the if you want to call them, I don't know what you want to call them, like slums, ghetto, I don't know, but that's how it is over here. It's like wherever there's like a concentrated part of law enforcement, it's like worse over here. I don't know, it's weird.
Hmm. Yeah, no, actually, I am. I'm coming back home the 16th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me, Monsoon Noodle House in downtown Spartanburg.
Yes, I actually been meaning to go back. If you're hey man, if you're coming back, you said the 16th.
Yeah, I'm only staying for like 5 days. Most of the days I already got planned out with family and stuff, but
I understand. Um,
you know,
you should definitely get back down there, man. The last time I had monsoon, it was I was telling some guys about this last night. We were by a fire. I had strep throat and like three other people wanted to go. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to stop this train. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
apparently they just wanted, this was pre-COVID. So, it wasn't
mhm,
like I was just going infecting the population.
right,
But so, yeah, I went up there. I couldn't taste a thing. Like, it looked great. Monsoon it was like wonderful noodles, but no.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful food.
yeah, definitely, man.
I get I want to say, see, I'm gonna end up saying the name wrong
It's okay.
because I get them. I get It's a similar style of noodles to chow mein,
Yeah.
but I know chow mein is Chinese, and I'm pretty sure monsoon is a Vietnamese noodle house.
I'm not sure, to be honest with
I
you.
don't remember, but they got the names different. It's similar
Hmm.
in like noodle the texture and the flavor and like the sauce that's on the noodles. But that's what I get. My wife laughs at me because I'll be eating it right and like the juices and stuff from the noodles get all in my face. Oh man, man,
Yeah, and
sugar.
that definitely happens. Dude, I've actually grown out like I guess some of my facial hair. I could never get that to like grow, but if I guess it finally just decided decided to get off its tail. And but like every time now I eat and I'm like it want even just this much. This is not that much, but like just it just wants to catch things, save it for later. I guess put it in the fridge, but I feel so I feel you, man. So come to find out that you know Josh Berry, right?
Yeah, yeah, I know
Okay.
Josh.
Yeah, he said you guys have talked a couple times.
Yeah. Where did we meet? See, I know some individual through my. I know Josh. I don't know Josh Berry through Austin Wagner. You know Austin.
Yeah, I know Austin Wagner. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my, well, at one point in time before his dad passed away, that was my older stepbrother.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait,
Yeah.
really? So you
Yeah.
guys are like
Hmm.
family. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. No. And that's, I'm pretty sure I met you once. Was it? I think it was at the church, Joey Wampler's church.
Resurrection Baptist.
Yeah.
We might have. Like, I can't tell you how many people I've met. People just come up to me at different places and just, like I said, they just somehow know me. Like,
What's
but
it? There's another Brandon that I met. Oh,
Brandon Lawson, maybe,
yep,
maybe.
yep. That's him.
Yeah, yeah. The big, like, he's like Viking giant, Brandon Lawson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's huge. He's huge.
Yeah, that guy's a monster, man. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, if he ever got, like, ripped, like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
look at him cross, that's for sure.
Well, fun fact that I found out about Brandon Lawson whenever I first met him was that his glasses. So he wears glasses, right?
Yeah.
And they're actually for. He told me it was for his depth perception. Yeah. So the depth perception is how you would defeat that big giant. Just strike from far away.
Okay, I'll have to remember that.
Strike from far away.
No, man.
That's
If Brandon ever comes after me, like, I'm just gonna start throwing chairs on the ground, start running, man.
be
Like,
like, huh? You can't tell if they're close or if they're far. What are you gonna do?
yeah, that's what I'd have to do. But the reason I brought up Josh Berry, so I don't. He actually apparently started a podcast too.
The rambling
Redeemed.
redeemed. Yep.
So check this out. Like I haven't seen him in like since before he got married, I think. And so long story short, yesterday I'm in my house doing my thing on my computer,
Mhm.
playing with like or it's not Sony Vegas anymore, but Vegas video editor. And I get a knock at my door. My dog's going nuts, which means it's definitely somebody new. And come to find out, there was like two guys at my door, and they're like, "Hey, man, our car broke down at the end of the road. We're gonna see if we could, get some water and like use the bathroom." I'm like, it's shady, but sure. I shouldn't have done it, but I
Yeah.
still did. And
Yeah.
so I go take these guys out to their car because I know my way around cars fairly
Uh,
well. So I was gonna try to help them out, maybe do a little diagnosis or something like that, just get them going again. And well, Josh Berry has this thing staged, and he comes out of the woods flying with like a video camera, like, and I guess like he's doing this thing now where you get rambled, is what he calls it for his podcast. So like, man, if a video comes out like in the next couple days with me totally in bum clothes, like trying to help some guys out, like Josh totally, he came out of the woodwork on me, man. I got ambushed yesterday.
That's funny. That's
That's
hilarious.
he's that type of guy, man. He'll just call people, leave strange voicemails, or he'll pretend he's like not law enforcement, but whatever legally won't get him in trouble. But he'll pretend to be somebody. Like he'll get you, man. I'm telling you. Like I wouldn't shock me if he showed up in Arizona just to like on your doorstep and just like had a camera at you, like live TV or something.
Yeah, see, I just don't pose as the IRS.
Yeah, that's a good tip for sure. Like,
not the biggest fan.
no, definitely not. As far as I'm concerned, like obviously I do think we have to have somebody that actually manages our money in some sense, but they're the Internal Revenue Service.
I
They're there
mean,
to get that money.
not really doing much managing. I mean,
No,
we've been spending billions of dollars on our military, and our military is like twice the size as the next like 5 countries, which are all allies. But don't get
so
me started on that. I'll go on a rant. I'll go
no,
on
no,
a rant.
I want to get you started on that. So like you sound like you're for like a smaller sort of military.
Well, I just like on if anybody that has or is friends with me on Facebook, they know my Facebook page very active.
Yeah, no,
It
yeah,
is
I'm the same way, man. I
it's
tell
a
all my
very
friends. So, but like, I haven't heard your opinion on this to where like, so for me, like the way I feel about like our defense capability, so it's like a catch-22 for me because I feel like that our military shouldn't be so big that like say a guerrilla operation by the United States people couldn't overthrow it. But I do want us to be able to have a strong enough military that even big countries like China would think twice. You know what I'm
oh
saying?
well. See, here's the thing: is even a country like China, who has a much bigger army and population, wouldn't like they have two more. So right now, China has a bigger navy than us in ship
Yeah,
size.
I just saw that the other day.
We have 38 some or like 300 some crazy number, and they have like two more ships than us, like literally two.
Oh yeah.
And so they're technically the biggest navy now. Hold on, I'm gonna move my computer because I feel like the camera is like way too close.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so technically they have like the biggest navy, right?
Mhm.
But like that's cool and all, but where America dominates is our intelligence field.
Okay. Why do you say that?
America, hmm?
Why do you say that? How do we dominate like in the intelligence field?
Oh, well, like if China were to do anything, like like way high up there that I don't have security clearance for to
Obviously, yeah,
know.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, they would know. They would literally the second,
Mhm.
like they would know.
I'm sure. I mean, I hope so. I hope it's that fortified as far as like our intelligence network. I mean, you got to think about it,
Well,
man. We're like in so many different countries between our allies and where we have bases and things. That's always something that amazed me. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but like other countries don't have like bases in other countries. Like, I mean, they have like, you know, God, I can't think of the word for it right now. It just slipped my mind. Like, you know how we have embassies. Yeah. And we have embassies, but that's different from having like boots on the
literal military
ground.
bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we got boots on the ground in Germany and Okinawa and all kind of Guam.
Yeah, over there on Europe side, that's the army. Over here in Japan, the west side, that's all Marines. Well, mostly
I,
Marines.
I've heard there's Air Force out there too, because
Yeah.
Scott Bishop, he actually was out there in the Air Force, if
Yeah.
I'm
The
not
Air
mistaken.
Force can go out there to Japan too. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, Scott. Me and him just went 2 rounds the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to we were talking about getting on here and he wanted to kind of talk about some political stuff. That's an interesting cat, man. Like he's definitely
You
got all
know,
kinds of flavors.
I respect it. Like, you have your own opinion. I respect it. I respectfully disagree, but I respect it.
Yeah, that's how
Uh,
I am. Like, but
Me
I
and
mean,
him,
sometimes me and him align. It's fewer than like say like me and you. We align as far as like a political sense. I think I probably have like a different take on like the police brutality issues. I think you're a little more I don't know what the like stance would be, I guess. Because I don't want to use the term like Black Lives Matter, but I think you're closer to that kind of view of like definitely more police. There's a lot more police abuse than but I think that other than stuff like that, well, actually, like economically and as far as capitalism and things like that go, I think me and you are almost neck and neck.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely fall. That political compass, the little 4 grid map that got
Yeah,
popular right
yeah.
for a short time. I fall in the bottom right pretty hard.
Do you?
Like, yeah, I'm like this close from anarcho-capitalism, like this close. Like there's just enough. Yeah, there should be a very small government in me to keep me from that anarchy stage.
Yeah, no. Well, see, at first when I met you and I found added you online, I was like, this guy's throwing up a lot of anarchy symbols. And like in a perfect world, like anarchy would be like when I say anarchy, people think, well, there's just riots in the streets, it's
No, not at
Mad
all.
Max out here, but uh, and a true, I guess, like a utopian version, I would hope that people could just govern themselves like that, like
Hmm.
kind of like in a pre-nation period, kind of like Abraham or something. But everybody had to have like their own private army and things like that, and I just don't know that that's super smart, but I definitely wish it could be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. That would be the ideal, right? Just self-governing individuals
Mm,
with no higher power other than that singular individual.
mm.
But then you run into the problem of like, what if another individual infringes
Yeah.
onto
Who
another
who
individual?
who brings that judgment except like maybe a judge of your
Yeah.
peers?
But then technically, a judge or a court or anything like that, that becomes the higher power.
Yeah, that becomes the
And
government. And
then,
I think that's what the government is. I think that's the ideal of government, like where the people themselves have banded together and decided. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
and I think as far as like if we could get our own system right, we could have the closest thing to like an anarchist type state, the
You
closest you
see,
can get without total chaos.
yeah, to see like in my most like if somebody were to get me to sit down and to be like, if you could select like one encompassing like political ideology or philosophy, there are some times that the LP, the Libertarian Party, they throw out some wild stuff that I'm like that it's just a little
What
bit too far.
what you think? Like, what do you think they've thrown out that's pretty wild?
Like child labor. That I've seen the Libertarian Party, not from the whole like national Libertarian Party, but there have been certain state like on their state Libertarian Party page that'll throw out for child labor, and I'm like, that's just a little bit too far for me because like I'm real
Well,
heavy.
it's kind of like if they're a child, a minor child. The thing is, in order to accomplish something like that, I think you should really, you know, bring the age of accountability down or whatever you want to call it, like the age of
Mhm.
being a minor. Because I could understand, like, in say some countries like Japan, where they have the age of consent, if I'm not mistaken, is 14. Now, I don't know how I feel about that in our society, but I do think that you could potentially raise people that are more responsible for their actions earlier on, be more used to being an adult. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you could, but so like one
That is
person
weird, though.
that it's considered this is one of my more radical thought processes.
Oh, you're radical? Go ahead.
Yeah. Tell me about it, right? Um, well, the one person whose ideology I absolutely adore, and most people, whenever they hear this, especially if they're more left
I feel
wing,
like you're going to say Ayn Rand.
I'm absolutely going to say Ayn
I
Rand.
was going to ask you about that. I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay, so talk to me about, is it pronounced Ayn Rand?
Ayn
Ayn Rand? Okay, she seems
Ayn
like she's
Rand,
German.
yeah.
She seems like
No,
she's
actually, she's Russian. So
really.
she was actually in Russia whenever the Bolsheviks took over.
Oh, okay. So like,
Yeah.
what time period was her lifetime? Because like I hear different things about her, and you've brought her up the most.
Yeah, no, she lived in Russia. She's also Jewish.
Okay.
I don't know if that's in ethnicity or if that was only in like her family's faith basis.
Yeah.
I'm unsure about that part.
Well,
So
usually they go hand in hand, so she's
you
probably a little bit of both.
usually, but she was in Russia whenever the Bolsheviks took over, and her family actually had to get her out because she is a very opinionated, or was now past tense because she passed away, but she was a very opinionated individual. And the Bolsheviks didn't like very opinionated
Yeah,
individuals.
I'm sure not.
If you spoke out against the regime, right? It was basically a death sentence.
Yeah.
So they got her to America as quickly as possible.
Who's
And
they? Who got her to
her
America?
family, got the money and got her out of Russia and got her to America.
Mm-hmm.
And Ayn Rand, actually, her dream job, she wanted to be a movie writer, a film writer.
Really?
And wanted to write and direct films. Yep. And I actually have a couple of her books. What kind of fan would I be if I didn't?
Yeah.
But
I haven't heard of any of her books. Like what type? Like I assume she write like so. From what I hear about Ayn Rand, is that she has like a very libertarian is not the right word because I don't even think that term came about at the time, but a very self-reliant, individualistic approach to life, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, so her philosophy is called objectivism.
Okay.
And where it finds the most trouble settling with people is she came to America during a time where whenever she was younger, she came to America in a time where like capitalism was doing well for America.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, because of Great Depression and stuff like that, we started implementing things like
Social Security.
Social Security, welfare became a thing.
Yeah.
I don't mean directly after Great Depression. If for anybody listening to the podcast, I'm talking about years after because she lived in America until the day that she passed away.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading here. She was 1905 was when she was born. She, I think, passed in March 6, 1982.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty sure she came to America in her early 20s, which would place her in the 20s to 30s. So, whenever she came to America, so that's talking about like prime time capitalism. Capitalism had brought America into the freaking like.
I mean, definitely built us up, especially if she came like you said right after the Great Depression. You said right?
No. I'm pretty sure she came to America prior to Great Depression.
Okay.
But whenever she started speaking out more against about her philosophy was after Great Depression, once social programs had been put in place, because she disagreed
Yeah.
with the said social programs because her her whole philosophy actually wants to change the way society sees the altruism and selfishness.
Yeah. Okay.
Ayn Rand saw altruism as the truest form of evil, and she saw selfishness as the truest form
Well,
of.
there's a real argument for that, like the truest
Yep.
form of good there. I mean, and now I don't know that I completely agree with that. And I haven't articulated exactly. I just know that I feel something's not like quite about that because I do feel like, yes, as an individual, I think you should develop yourself enough to where you do want to help people, to where you do want to take care of people. But at the same time, you building yourself up gives you that ability, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. For me, like even right now in my own life, like I know for a fact that I am not capable of like supporting other people, so
Mhm.
that causes me to really pay attention to myself to where I can build myself up. And I've seen guys do that and start to be that giver type of person. But I definitely don't think we should be the type of country to where the government is, for instance, your nanny, man, where anytime something goes wrong, we start throwing out checks, man. Like,
We'll see, like, well, her hatred for altruism came from whenever she was in Russia, because that's what like socialism and communism
yeah,
was presented with. This is the most altruistic form of government. This is the most
yeah.
moral, is what they preached it. It's the most moral because you're taking care of your fellow man. You're putting your
But you
fellow
can't
man.
legislate that. That's my thing is you can't legislate that. If you start legislating something like that, it puts your government in a position to where they are forcing kindness. And
Mhm.
that causes my
Problems.
biggest problem with that is that causes resentment,
Mhm. Well,
where
no, that's exactly. She did. She wanted to rewrite the how we saw as a society. Like it wasn't just a political, it was like a philosophy, like you would like a philosophy, not just a political ideology.
yeah,
And she wanted, because in her mind, right, is if everything you do is selfish fueled. Even, and I'll use the example you gave me. You help those guys, and you like prior to knowing that you were getting ambushed, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
You were helping those guys with their truck, helping someone because of what we've been taught, especially in the Bible Belt, because altruism and taking care of others is a, I feel in the Bible Belt especially is
yeah. No, I don't think you could have knocked on anyone else's door, like, and like say you were in Connecticut or something like that, and they would have been like, "Man, you need to go on somewhere."
yeah. So
I'm
like the
like, man, I'm
Bible,
as southern as I get, man. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, like,
yeah, like so the Bible Belt is known,
for
people help
hospitality.
you, yeah, for
Yeah,
hospitality, for their
yeah,
altruism, and but even like an act like that, like makes you feel good inside. You're like, hey, I'm helping these people, I'm doing good. So in all reality, the way I see it is even acts that you make for other people,
yeah,
people that you know, people that you don't know, people that you love, people that you don't know, so you don't love them necessarily,
yeah.
not in the
No,
same way that I love my family, I love my wife,
yeah.
um, but you do it because it makes you feel good inside. You enjoy, if you enjoy helping
So,
people,
are you saying that that in and of itself is like a form of selfishness?
it is.
Okay, I can understand what you're saying there because, um, yeah, no, I definitely like. So, for instance, like I didn't know those guys were who they were, but like I definitely didn't do it out of how do I say out of like say me knowing that or like some higher reason other than like that's the kind of person I want to be, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like, because I've been in a situation like that where I'm in like where I break down and I just need to use somebody's cell phone, and that was way back when,
Right.
and people look at you funny, and I never wanted to be that guy. Like, I want to be that guy that can help. Now, like, it'd be different. Like, say for instance, if I had a family, I would definitely I would not think twice about being like, hey man, no, I'm sorry, I really can't do that. I might could let them borrow my cell phone, but
Mm-hmm.
like, I definitely would not have let you in my house and like stopped you
Yeah.
up and like took
Because
you.
then it becomes a safety thing
Yeah,
for your
well, like,
family.
truly caring for myself then would be caring for my family. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because that's my inner nucleus. Like, we're
Right.
definitely not going to threaten that.
Well,
That's what.
see, Ayn Rand actually got asked about that with like, what about if you had a spouse, because she even said, love is selfish and that everything you do can be broken down on a very logical basis. And I absolutely adore how logical she was and how she almost like every aspect of life broke it down in a logical framework. Why do you love your spouse? Why do you take care of them? Well, because it's in her mind, it was what do I get out of it, right? And like how useful is this for me? So it was the epitome of selfish reasoning for doing good things. And why do if you see this person struggling and you go and help them,
Yeah.
what good is it for you? What makes you feel good inside? Because you're like, hey, I helped this person. Like that's the person I
Yeah.
want to be, as you said. And then she said it's the same way with like your spouse. You show them kindness, so they show you kindness. You scratch their back, they scratch yours. You both consent to, a like you both consent to have, sex, so you have children and you want to have children. And of course, like you want to make love to your spouse. Thus, you're getting something out of it either
Yeah.
way,
Yeah. Hopefully, you're getting something out of it.
right?
Uh,
Yeah.
but but okay, so to I guess maybe like a counter proposition to that would be like, okay, so you look at guys like, I don't do you know, like, you're probably familiar with like Bible books or whatever. You've heard of like Hosea, right?
Yeah.
Like the book of Hosea. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's like this guy, right? He's a prophet or whatever, and God makes him go marry a woman who's like a whore of some sort. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and so throughout that whole relationship, other than like Hosea getting children, like he has to deal with like this wife, and God in that book commands him to still go after her, to buy her back, to love her, and things like that. Now, I do think there's a higher form of moral good that where you don't get anything out of it, and that would be like a self-sacrificing.
Mhm.
Um, and
Well,
I don't know how that would fit into like a narrative like
this
yours. Like,
that's why I said this is one of my more radical thought processes, because
okay,
that is where it begins to lose people, because Ayn Rand was a fanatical atheist.
okay,
Very, very, very just all religions in general. She didn't hold grudges toward one or the other,
yeah,
but just every religion in general, she didn't believe that they should be like, if you personally wanted to, cool. But like she didn't believe that religion should be as active part of society as they are. And she was a very
but see, but here's the thing: you don't. If you're an individualist, you don't get to choose that, though.
well, no,
Like,
she was saying she wanted to influence society around her to the point where society over time no longer depends on religion and no longer depends on faith, and people would be more scientifically minded and logical minded. that's where her ideology actually loses a lot of people, and especially during the time
Mhm.
that she was around. America is a little bit more secular now,
Yeah.
but back whenever she was around, not so much.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see why somebody like her, or even myself, I could see myself, had I been raised in that time, where I probably would have lost a lot of faith just by the sheer enforcement of religion. Not that like we had everything encoded into the law, but the sheer culture, because you read like old American authors and things like that, or how things were, say, in like the 70s or even the 60s, man. And I can understand why a lot of people rebelled then, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, for sure. But that's why I said it's more the radical thought processes. Like if somebody asked me, what it like my philosophy or like my standard, like because I have like different levels, so I categorize it like a little filing cabinet,
yeah,
And at the very bottom is objectivism, because that's the one I don't really show people. That's the one I kind of just keep to myself most of the time. Now, of course, I brought it on the podcast just because, like you said, you wanted to ask me about it anyways.
yeah.
Because
No,
I do talk about.
On Ron has been kind of bouncing around at different places here and there, and I definitely wanted to learn. I listened to her speak just a little bit at one point. I was like, man, she has a very thick accent. But
Yeah.
it's so okay. I think you should be like in now, not like the objectivism philosophy, but in general in life, I think you ought to be very objective. And I think she has some really good points, because I think that um the altruism in America, okay, so like where we have to take care of it, we got to feel like we got to be the savior of everything. Like
I
I can't stand it, because
I
like
hate it.
and here's why is like I find that most of the time you intervening and helping is usually not helping.
Yeah, well, see, there's this one. Now, I don't consider it radical, but people from back home, due to the Bible Belt being the way the Bible Belt is,
Yeah.
and most of the people on my Facebook being from the Bible Belt,
Yeah.
and of course, are most of them are Baptist or Methodist or
Yeah.
Pentecostal, either the different denominations that are heavy in upstate South Carolina.
Yeah.
Whenever Israel was getting attacked.
You talking about like the other day with Gaza and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So go
And
on.
I already knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. The wave of
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is
I know what you mean.
America's duty to protect Israel. Like
Yeah.
I knew that wave was coming. And like I had already, like the minute I saw something about Israel getting into a conflict, I was like, well, here it goes. I'm gonna have a fun day today on Facebook.
Yeah.
And let alone I got on my feed and there it was, just multiple, man. I could just scroll of America needs to help Israel. And then they were like, this presidency is nothing because, and I wasn't going to get started on this, but the
Go ahead.
cult
Go ahead.
like mentality of Trump supporters in the South.
Yeah. Yeah. And like keep in mind, like I ain't gonna lie to you. Like the first time he ran, I didn't want to vote for him, but I did. And I ain't got no problem saying that. I think looking back on Trump now, I think he definitely had some fair points. He might have been crazy. Like I think he was definitely a little crazy.
No, he was I think Trump. I don't think he was crazy. I think a lot of the stuff he did was on purpose. He enjoyed getting the reactions that he got.
Yeah, no, when he plays with the media, man, he's definitely knows that
Absolutely.
he can play him like a fiddle. So
yeah, there's no way. And so I wasn't old enough yet to be able to. I was literally like a couple months away from.
How old are you, man?
Oh, I'm just now. I turned 22 on the 23rd.
Oh wow, I'm an old guy.
Like, yeah, man, old man, dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
But the second time around I didn't, and I will admit, like I'm not gonna sit here and blindly say, oh, Trump was the worst president we've ever had. No, economically, he did pretty well.
Yeah, he did all right. one of the biggest things with Trump that impressed me was, first of all, the economy. Man, he made pulling out of all these international agreements like the Paris Climate Accord. Now, some people think that that's just the greatest thing, since sliced bread. I don't think so. But like, okay, and he brought North Korea to the table, and for that, I will be like, okay,
Yeah,
thank
I'll
you,
give him
good
credit for
job.
that. Yeah, I believe in giving credit where credit's due, but
That's true.
I'm not gonna give you too much credit.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say I do miss the you never know what tweet you're wait. I don't even check Twitter like that, but somebody's gonna have it.
Somebody's gonna post somebody's
you're gonna hear about it, like whether he want like
Trump posted this on Twitter. Look at this. Yeah.
Now, okay, so like the worst thing I think he ever did, he buckled down to the COVID restrictions. He submitted to the peer pressure there, and honestly, I really hated that. And then what was it? The first CARES Act, where you're throwing out one bill that has $1 trillion price tag on it. Like, are you crazy? Like, here's the thing: if we're throwing out bills that have $1 trillion price tag on them, then that is worse than the pandemic. Like, I understand that we didn't know everything that was going on, but like, man, I don't think printing more money and sending out cash is the answer, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think even prior to COVID, I already had I had my bones to pick with President Trump. And it was definitely over guns. I could not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that, he's pro-America, things like that, but I think like he was way more moderate than people would like to. He would have been like a proper proponent for gun control, if that makes sense. Like, if you were gonna have it, like he would have been as far as I would have ever felt comfortable with.
See, there was this one interview that was caught on camera.
Yeah.
And it was the line for me. It was the one that I used it as evidence in every debate since he said it. Every debate, because people would be.
Was this like post presidency? Like
him? No. He was in presidency. He was
sitting president at the time.
What
happened in it?
The video is him sitting in the White House.
Yeah.
He, end quote, said, "If I had it my way, I would take the guns first, due process second." And that sentence right there,
whoa,
scares the heck out of me. That is just and I might be able to find it real quick. And
yeah, if you send me the link, I can play it for us.
Yeah.
And I can show it to, I guess, our listeners. Like, take guns early without due process. He's wearing like a blue tie.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna do like a little screen share thing.
Well, and see, if you scroll down, there's another one of him actually sitting at the table that's not CNBC. It's by 10K views from Locale. It's like the third one down on YouTube.
Let's see here. So
it's got the view of like the whole table, and you can see everybody sitting there.
Okay. So it's like by Locale. Is that what you said? 10K views. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go ahead and throw that up real quick. Get a screen share going.
By the way, and while he's doing that, if you ever want to read Ayn Rand, this is her book called The Fountainhead. It's not that big. Okay. There's also Atlas Shrugged. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, just a wee bit.
Good gracious, that woman, she's a writing machine, wasn't she?
She was a beautiful writer. There are times in both of those books where, and me as somebody who at one point in time was an English major, before I switched my major because I have a friend whose mom is an English major, and she said, "Hey, don't do it. The only thing you're getting into is education, and unless you want to teach for the rest of your life, don't do it."
See, I thought about doing an English major just so I could like teach English and like because I really want to go to Japan. But anyhow, let me click on this video real quick. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
go
ahead
ahead,
and
go ahead.
get started on that because I think that was interesting. I definitely want to see this. Okay, that should. Is my screen showing now?
Yeah,
Can you hear it?
I cannot.
Let me see if I can. That might be something I have to work on in the future. I don't know. Not so sure if I can get it to actually play the sound for us. Anyhow, I'll watch it later just because like I don't know how to. I haven't got familiar enough with Zoom to do that.
Right.
But
Well, no, no, yeah, no, that's fine. And now that people have seen that right there from you screen sharing it, and me mention it, hopefully they'll be
yeah, well,
like,
I mean,
hey,
they can decide for themselves for sure. You know.
yeah. So that's what I like. I want people to go and do their own research, and because that's how there have been, and I've gotten this as both a compliment, an insult, and a double-sided compliment.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've gotten the compliment that although they disagree, they respect the fact that I do my research.
Yes.
Now, some people they use it as a, especially once the older they get. I've been told by some older individuals that I am, and for quote, too smart for my own good. Now, I don't think I'm the most
I
intelligent man ever. I just
yeah.
think I read a lot, so I know a bunch of random facts that nobody cares about.
Well, so okay, I'll say it like this. So for people who like really research and really try to have a informed opinion, because there's a lot of people who have a formed opinion who aren't very informed at all, man. I think like one of the biggest travesties I have, like if I when I try to date people in this area, man, it's really hard because I have a lot of people who have a lot of opinions who
Hmm.
really don't know a whole
With
lot,
no information, with
no
no information to
information.
support it.
Like I've straight up heard people in this area say, "Well, this is back when Trump was president. Man, I got a lot of this." And like when Trump was president, even though I voted for him, I seemed like the guy who hated him. Like just because like I wasn't like kissing his boots, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, see, I'm not a bootlicker, so
yeah,
that
no,
that doesn't work for me. Like, I get it, you're the president, but the president is also
it's very subject to criticism.
well, he's a servant to the people.
Hey, well, that's definitely he's
Thus I should I you the people shouldn't be worshiping the president. That drives me up a wall. I complain about that every election year. We act like this, and it
like they're
does it
God.
every year, and it's done it every year that I've ever kept up with politics. This year is the most important election. This will decide the fate of America.
Yeah, I mean,
And
but
I'm
they're not wrong in a way. But now keep in mind, okay, so I listened. I don't know who it was. It might have been like Jordan Peterson and not Christopher Hitchens because he's dead. But uh, it was God, I can't remember his name. It might have been Ian something. I can't. He's like a British comic slash writer slash actor. I can't remember his name all of a sudden, but
I think I know who you're talking about.
um, but he had him on, and they were talking because they're outside of America. You know what I mean? They live in these. I don't
One is
guess.
from
One of them was from England, and then he's from Canada. But they always
yeah.
talked about the president as having like that figurehead position of like a king,
Mm-hmm.
and that maybe if we had something other than, God forbid, celebrities, like a position that symbolized that figurehead, like a Japanese emperor who really doesn't make policy, but they have that kind of that public attention, and that way we could have more of like a prime minister type role to where, yes, they do take part in, leading the free world, but they don't lead it with like, how do I say, that type of hype where they have this king almost like, and everybody's watching them, how are they dressing, and how do they bow all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's ridiculous.
Well,
There's that
the
term
one,
like that people say, well, he's not very presidential. And I'm like,
what
what's
does
his
that even?
policy?
Yeah, what's his policies? I'm not asking about what he tweets. I'm not asking, what he
I,
says to people. I'm
I don't care
asking
if
what
he's
are
a
his policies.
paraplegic.
Yeah, I don't
It's what's
care.
in that brain that matters to me, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
Well, and I've treated and see, whenever Trump was president, I was called by Republicans, by conservatives, I was called a libtard, right?
yeah, God.
Because I scrutinized and I criticized certain actions, like the one that I told you, take the guns first, due process second. But then the Republicans are over here saying Trump is doing all these great things for the Second Amendment rights, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really? Then why did he say this? And they're like, shut up, libtard. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, God.
And I'm
Jesus.
like, hey guy, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you to spark some intelligent dialogue here.
And
But
not everybody in this area can have it. And that's kind of one of the reasons like I wanted to do this type of podcast, man, because like, okay, so me and you definitely both fall in kind of like a freedom libertarian type center. We were talking about the political compass. I'm like in the same place you are. I'm like way down on the libertarian side, but a little to the left. So I'm a little to the left. But I do have like conservative traditional values, but like those are for me, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Like I'm not going to try to legislate my religious view. Like, okay, if we were to talk like
Oh,
about abortion, which is something
oh yeah.
I did want to talk, we're going to bring out all the stops today, boy. But like, okay, so if I tried to use like the evidence for like why I don't believe abortion is the best idea and said, well, God knit them in the womb, like that doesn't fly for policy. You know what I'm saying?
That is the number one thing I have argued and debated, period, since I got into, like, I enjoy a good debate
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now and then, right? Like a nice heated debate.
Yes,
Like
definitely.
me and Scott Bishop, we'll go back and forth on a post for like 2 straight days.
But see, I like to do it. Okay, so it just depends on the person. Like,
Yeah, it
okay,
depends
so
on the person.
if I'm going at it like with somebody like you, okay, so where I already have some established common grounds,
Hmm.
I can go a lot farther with
Yes.
that over like say texting, just on your cell
Yeah.
phone. But and now if I'm in person, oh man, like I could do it all day. Like
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we'll see.
I want to throw my cell phone
The one
sometimes.
thing, yeah, the one thing about like you debating over like Facebook text, anything like that, Messenger, I hate it. I do it, but I hate it because there are a lot of
I
times.
stopped for the most part. Like sometimes you and Scott
I
will lure me in. Um,
Well,
but it's rare.
Scott's about the only person that I debate with nowadays. And it's because I like the guy. Me and him, we've played Warzone together. He's a fellow, or he's a veteran. I'm still active duty, so I have respect for the guy.
Yeah.
Mad respect, and I respect him for believing what he believes. Like, you believe what you believe. He's an intelligent guy. He's thrown some valid points.
Well, see, every time I disagree with somebody and I feel like we're not getting where online, I really feel like I could get somewhere
In person
in
that I'm
person.
not able to get to
Yeah.
over the internet. And that's the reason I hate it, because with me and you sitting here, we're talking, right?
Mm.
You're not gonna, like, if you misinterpret something that I say
It'll be
and
harder
you,
to misinterpret with visual cues and,
yeah,
and hearing your tone of voice. Like, sometimes, man, I'll read comments and I think everybody does. It's like I knew a lady, like my best friend's mother-in-law. She got into it one time with me on Facebook, man, and like we met in person later after that, and I mean she's a great person. Like
mhm.
but like I thought she was a real, douchebag, like
Mhm.
online. And that's the way you can come on. And I know that I do too, sometimes.
Oh no, oh no. Well, see, whenever I was a little bit younger, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I call myself old, but it's
Yeah,
because
you're not old.
I'm not old. I'm not old at all.
I'm
But
not
I
either.
feel like there are. So I'm not really like I can talk to you, and if I have an opinion on something, I'll talk about it. But like outside of that, I'm a homebody. So eventually, like I need to relax and recharge and just not be talking to anybody, right?
Mhm.
I need my away from social interaction time.
Yeah.
But there have been times where whenever I was a little bit younger, I was a little bit more feisty.
Yeah, no, definitely me too. Like when I was younger, I'd be way more quick on the trigger to start typing on that keyboard, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Like now, I find myself just ignoring some people
yeah.
because, like Scott Bishop, there's sometimes where like I know me and him don't agree on it, but I'll comment anyways because I'm like, it's Scott. Let's
I'm
just
in the
do it.
mood today,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in the mood today. But then the other times I'll see his post and it's like a just a blatant thing that like me and him have already discussed, have already debated, and I'm just like, all right, cool, keep scrolling.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I definitely don't feel like it's my when I was younger, man, like, and I know people around me had to be feeling some type of way sometimes.
oh yeah, for
Where
sure.
I used to feel like it was my God-given duty to set the world straight. Not that I said it like that, I would never have said it like that, but that's the way I acted. And that's definitely not the
Yeah.
case anymore.
No, no,
Now
no,
I
that
have more of an approach where like I want to hear why they think what they think, honestly. Like, because I mean, I hear what I think enough. Like,
yeah,
I'm with me with
yeah,
24
yeah.
hours.
There are times whenever I sit down and I'm just like, okay, I gotta stop. Like, cause my brain is just whenever I'm debating with somebody, my brain, dude, is just going off with just different ways to say things. Because what's really bad is whenever I get into a debate, especially if I catch somebody slip up on one small detail, dude, my brain just automatically does it. They slip up on one detail and it's like a lion that just saw a baby zebra. Like I am going in.
Yeah.
And it whenever I was younger, I was a little bit more feisty about it to the point where like people thought that like I just was a very superficial up on my podium douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like whenever
just kind of on
whenever
your high horse all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like whenever it came, especially to like mental stuff, because obviously we're debating politics and stuff. And whenever it came to philosophies, thought processes and stuff, a lot of people, because I've had conversations with them like either like this or in person or over the phone, and they've been like, you were kind of belittling my intelligence, and I was like, I wasn't trying to, I'm sorry, like that's not what I was.
Yeah, you could come off so strong for sure, where you just like, yeah, I call it steamrolling people, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes that happens. I mean, it shouldn't. You should try to monitor yourself. You probably do. The older you get, the easier it comes, man. You
yeah.
know,
Whenever
and
I was younger, my I didn't have as much control over like if you put something out there, and the way I saw it was Facebook is a public forum. You put it out there,
yeah,
like you are open to all forms of scrutiny.
yeah.
And I actually, and people would be like, what if we treated you the same way? And back then I was like, oh, please do. Come comment on my post. I want
Come
you
at me,
to.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Like literally, whenever it came to debating, I was open for the fight. Like, let's go. And a lot of people, whenever I first started debating, got really mad because I was not a discriminator of persons.
yeah.
I didn't
Didn't
care.
matter. It could have been Could have been your mama. It could have been.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was. It
Yeah.
was. People got really mad because me and my mama went at it one time on a post for like 30 something comments back and forth. Like
Well,
we were.
the biggest thing to me is like okay, so say you guys go at it on a post like that. As long as what I call them is like conversational low blows. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not getting personal with it, and you guys are trying to find like an objective reason why you're right,
Oh yeah. Oh
then
well, see,
then it's all good. You know?
yeah. Me and my mother would never throw low blows at each other. Me and my mom are essentially like, and I do take pride in this because I love Dr. Jordan Peterson, and I know you do
Honestly, I
too.
didn't think you listened to him that much or anything. I figured you knew of him.
Oh no, I listened to his. So I listened to his seminars for his psychology class,
Yeah.
his psychology lectures all the time.
Can you believe that stuff's free for us? Like in the generation that we live in, can you believe that? Man, there are Harvard lectures now. The audio quality is like it's old, man, but still, like, and even some of his more like lectures in Toronto and things like that. I just could not believe that you get that stuff for free, man, because that is his stuff's gold. It's gold, man.
Absolutely. Now there are people that are going to disagree, right? There are some people that hate Jordan Peterson, and they do it all because he was against the mandated speech in Canada.
Oh, you talking about like the transgender? How you feel? How do you feel about that, by the way? And like, if there are any of my friends who are trans on here, if I say something that offends you, like, sorry.
I have a cousin who he's way more left leaning than I am, right? Which is, not a bad thing. You have the right to have your own opinion, lean whatever direction on the political spectrum that, you wish. I'm not going to think any less or any more of you. But he asked me that question because whenever he posted about it, I was like, I'm all well and fine for if people feel more comfortable in their own body to where they want to switch genders, right? I don't care because that's their life.
Yeah, that does come down to a more like individual thing.
It is. No, it's an absolute individual thing. And the way I see it is like if they were to come up with me, actually, no, I do have a friend. He was born a she, and he asked me to call, he, him. That's what he goes by now.
Yeah.
And I said, okay.
For me, it just depends. Like, okay, so it depends on how much about it they are, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know why I'm like this, but like, okay, if you're gonna come up to me all the time, like, it depends on how much they use their gender as their very identity, if that makes sense. Like, okay, so I get it. Yeah, I'm a dude, that's part of my life, or whatever. But there are a lot of things that I have interest in that I, do with my life that if I weren't a dude, it wouldn't make a difference, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're coming at me, you're like, I have to be called like whatever pronoun it is. I'm like, I'm probably gonna call you something else out of spite. Like,
now, see, there's my friend I'm talking about. His name's Ray. But since I knew him back whenever he identified as a female, every now and then, because like to me, still very feminine in appearance, right?
Yeah.
Was born a female, of course, right? Unless they start transitioning really, really early in life.
Yeah, it can be like that. Some people, they do transition later and then they're like, it just works really good for them. You know what I mean? Now, like, okay, so I have one friend, or actually I have two, who are transgender, and they never made it like a big deal. Like, and so like, I just kept calling them what everybody else did. Like, but if they were to like, be like, do you believe that actually changed, that gender and sex are different? I would have to tell them like, no, I don't differentiate the two.
Well, like,
I can understand being like an effeminate man, or something like that. Or
at that point, I feel like at that point you're just really playing semantics.
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
the word gender and sex have been used interchangeably for years, but
Yes.
now they're making them different, right? Putting a little differential line
Yeah, and
in
not only
between.
that, it used to be, just binary, but now it's like,
Yeah,
and now it's every which way. And honestly, I get where they're coming from in the sense that they feel, and it'd be nice to have one of them present with me on the podcast, that way they could take up for themselves a little bit more. I might get Lucas Littlejohn on here one day. I don't know how he would feel, but um, I think that
just little
when
John.
you say you're something other than male or female, I think you're misconstruing what scientifically is there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd still believe in like the XXXY chromosomes, man.
We'll
Like it's
see. I'm a very I tend to pride myself in being a logical person. If someone were to ask me, what rules your day-to-day processes, your head or your heart, I'm saying the head all day long. Because there are people that I feel, or whenever they get those gut like feelings, or they just do things on a very like whimsical manner. Like once they feel like doing it, they're doing it. I can't, if you can do that, more power to you. I can't. I have to sit down and I have to think about things, and I have to think about them in a very objective manner.
yeah.
And because especially whenever it comes
Oh,
to
I feel
stuff
like
like,
you have to inform your feelings though. Okay, so like I do try to. I want to be the type of person that I can walk in a manner, and live my life in such a way to where I'm not devoid of my emotions at all. Like but I do want to have them subjected to deeper truths that my mind has figured out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Uh, you
Well,
know,
and well, whenever it comes to stuff like that, I usually just kind of I leave because it doesn't have to do with me
mhm.
or my wife or my little nucleus, right?
Yeah.
I tend to just leave how I personally feel about things, and I try to approach it very objective whenever it's concerning other people.
Wait,
Because
I think that's the most helpful way to be, because I mean, honestly, man, I think your emotions have something to tell you about yourself more than anything,
yeah,
and not so much other people, if
yeah,
that
and they
makes
don't
sense.
apply to other people.
Yeah, like
Uh,
I think that you definitely ought to approach people with a almost methodological, that's probably not the right word, but to where you're looking at things objectively is the word I use, where
yeah,
you're trying to siphon out all the truest information available about
hmm,
a situation, and then kind of, whatever it is, build that picture based off
right.
what you actually have. That's what got me. Okay, like, okay, this is an old case now, but man, I really got some flack, especially with my ex at the time. You remember the whole Brett Kavanaugh situation?
Is that the kid that
Supreme?
went across state lines and ended
No,
up shooting somebody?
no. This is the
No.
guy that Trump got in for the Supreme Court.
Oh, Brent Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court guy that was
Yes,
accused of rape.
rape. Yes,
Yeah.
and
What was
like
the boy? Just so that my mind doesn't slip back to it. What was the boy's name who went across state lines and
I have no idea.
during during that riot?
No, I have no idea what riot though.
Ah, it was it was one of the riots for um that started after George Floyd's death,
It might have been. Was
and
Charlotte after that? I don't know.
I don't remember which one it was after, but I can't remember the boy's name. But he ended up shooting two people. He shot one man in the arm and one man in the head.
Oh God.
Uh, and I can't remember his name. And I'm trying to keep myself while you're talking, like once you bring up names, because I'm not the best with names. I'm really good with faces. Once I
Yeah,
see
no,
their
I'm
face,
same
I'm
way.
good.
I'm
But
same way.
names, man, they just slip from me. So Brent Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court accused of rape.
Okay, yeah. So what I was going on with him about, okay, so at the time, I got some major flack because I mean so this was an accusation that came out like God over 20 years later, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was
Like 20, 22, 23 years later, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And what really got me, man, okay, is because they didn't have like a smoking pistol of like evidence
Not at
or
all.
something like that. Now, look, you can disagree on what you feel about Brett Kavanaugh being a Supreme Court judge, right?
Right.
That's fine. Like if you say like I just don't want him, or the reputation doesn't make me want him as a judge. But if you want to
Okay.
say that, like I couldn't believe that they created this weird ass Senate trial. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't even like a trial to try to get this guy dismissed from the Supreme Court because of an accusation, like without any substantial evidence. That presumption of innocence was lost. And what everybody at the times, their narrative was, well, we need to protect women. I get it. Don't misunderstand.
Oh,
Like,
I'm all for protecting women.
yes,
I'm all
but
for,
what if like, okay, could you imagine like we'll use your mom for an example, right?
okay.
You go into politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you try to do a good thing, and then some crazy ass woman, and that's what I'm not saying she is crazy or not. Like I don't even remember her name, but comes out of the woodwork for Leyton Martin and says while he was in school or while he was in the military, he did some god awful thing just right as you're about to be appointed Supreme Court judge, or like right as you're about to take a Senate seat, and I'm like, okay, like this is an ill time. Like now, like would you just see him on TV and remember?
Like why wait that long? Now, see, I understand that position.
Now, if they came out like and she's like, okay, I finally got the evidence that I needed, I'm taking this guy to court. We may or may not have a statute of limitations here, which I think they did have a statute of limitations on something like that anyway. Because that's the thing with a statute of limitations. You can't just like come after somebody for stealing. Now, obviously, this wasn't a bicycle. They accused him of rape.
Right. Of course.
You can't just come after somebody for even such a thing as rape. There's a statute of limitations on that where 10 years down the road, you never came forward. Like, I don't know.
It makes it real. And people are like, why is it like that? Well, it's because people lie.
Yeah. No,
definitely. There can be personal vendettas. And I have people who don't like me nor my mother or my family, like on a personal basis. And I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, they've tried to spread lies about my mom concerning what my mom does work and as a foster mother, and have tried to get her in trouble for false things. And so I've
known good guys. Man, I wish I could say some names because I would like to in some way vindicate them, but I don't think they prefer their privacy. Like I knew one guy, he always took care of this guy who is, he was an older gentleman, mentally ill. And he's a sweet guy. So that's what he does. He takes care of people like that. He took him out to eat all the time and, really made him feel loved and appreciated. And everybody said that he was after him because, like, I guess, he got like a disability check or something like that, and which was not the case because I was there all the time, I went out to eat with these guys all the time. And I feel for people when they really try to do right and they get lied on. And that's what gets me is that presumption of innocence, man. Like
there isn't.
Yeah,
not in society, not anymore.
It's like whoever the story blows up enough to whatever narrative is being said, that's what people are going to think about you. And I think that's total I mean, there's no other way to say it other than bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's how I approached and I caught some flack during Brett Kavanaugh as well. Because people hit me with the, do you not care about women? And I said, no, I do care about women. And I don't like the fact that women don't feel safe to walk alone.
Yeah, no, that's a serious problem.
And it is a serious problem. The most sexual offenders are men, And there's a strong part of me, and this is whenever the feelings part that I was talking about earlier starts coming out, because I try to put myself in, what if that was my mom? What if that was my wife? What if that was my sister? Like, I would not be a very happy person.
I would have told your family that they should have done it like 15 years earlier. Like,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel you. Like, okay, so most girls that I know, like if I get to talking with them, most female friends that I know, at some point, man, something god awful happened to them. It wasn't necessarily rape or like, but it would be like molestation, man. I cannot tell you the countless of stories. Like it's almost surface level, man. Like I can talk to a lady, and within just a couple minutes, I can tell. I've met enough of them. It's so sad that our children are so vulnerable. I love my best friend. We've been friends for 20 years, Kevin Hamilton. I love the way, because he has 3 daughters, man. Like, and he does not let people get in any weird compromising situations with his children, point blank, period.
Good. That's just being a father. And you have to, like, it's sad.
I know some people are very lackadaisical, like they'll let their kids go spend the night. And I get it that you want your kids to have a good time, but people don't understand that that's where that craziness happens. It's unfortunate that our daughters got to be protected like that, but it is the case.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's sad that we have to be that way. But like whenever it's uncles, whenever it's cousins, whenever it's trusted individuals.
He is not that person. He is not going to trust anyone like that.
No,
it's very rare.
I've seen this video floating around and like this phrase, and I absolutely love it. Whenever it comes to this subject, if you have to tell your daughter to put on different clothes than what you allow her to wear around the house because someone is coming over, like in this instant in the video, the guy, the mom says, "Hey," or no, it was the dad. The dad goes, "Hey, Uncle so and so is coming over. You might want to go change your shorts." And then he goes, "Just kidding. People aren't allowed over here if my daughter has to change her shorts because they're gonna be looking at her." And the message there was like, if your daughter's wearing shorts, right, and you tell her to go change into pants because this person is going to be looking at your daughter for her wearing shorts, like looking at her in that way, I wouldn't let that person in my house.
Okay, so here's where I'm a little different on that, and I've definitely caught flack for this. Okay, so the way I dress around the house, there's no telling. Like I might not wear a shirt, I might not. I might just wear like I told you the other day, like Josh caught me in my bum clothes, but my thing is like, I don't care who the person is. Now, obviously, if I feel like there's an inclination or there's something that's not right there with that person, hell no. Well, they're definitely not coming in my house. But I would be like the type of person that like, okay, so that might be a little, because the way I see it, when I invite people over, my house is no longer private. My house is public. In my bedroom, I might still leave private. No one's going in there. But like my living room, everything, and I just feel like, I put on different clothes when people come over.
I wear clothes like normally unless it gets hot in the house, and then I might go around without a shirt, right? And if people are coming over, sure, I throw on a shirt. But of course, like once I have kids, like in the context, like if I had a daughter, she wouldn't be walking around like half naked around the house anyways.
Yeah, like, no, I definitely go put a shirt on, man. Come on.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
Not and like if I'm not gonna walk around half naked in front of my kids don't walk half naked around in front of me. That's just like why.
And so in my case, maybe if I had children, I might, it might already be okay, because like I'm the type of person that unless the air conditioning's broke, you know what I mean, like, put on something, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
There
right.
are I have a set of like comfortable clothes. I think everybody does that they wear around the
Yeah,
house.
like bed clothes, right?
Yeah.
And like in this video, the girl wasn't wearing anything crazy. She was wearing a full t-shirt with a pair of like shorts. The most you could see is her upper thigh. Like,
Yeah.
and
Uh, it's
in the context of the video, I feel like if you have to tell them, go put on something longer because so and so is coming over, I feel like that.
my biggest thing with that is like if it's because of a certain name, a certain person,
Yeah, a
and
certain
you wouldn't
person.
have to do it for somebody else. Yeah, man. Like,
Yeah,
no,
it's no, they don't need to be coming in my house then.
yeah, no, they're definitely not the kind of people
Yeah.
you want around, man.
No,
Like,
and I had that discussion with my wife, and she feels the same way. Like if
I'm,
there's a
I'm,
certain person that if I were to have a daughter, that my daughter has to change clothes and wear much more covering clothes due to that one certain person coming over, she can't be comfortable in her own home. Like that's a red flag. That
it should tell you something. It should,
yeah,
if nothing else, it should tell you, that something's not the way it should be. At least I don't know. It's definitely.
now we kind of rambled. We floated all the way over here from Brent Kavanaugh,
Yeah.
but I'll
But
try to draw.
I was on like the presumption of innocence type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
where
The
I was
presumption
at.
is I caught a lot of flack over that because I don't like where society is at with like rape, sexual misconduct, stuff like that. I don't like the fact that what's his
Ah,
name? What's his name? He is this white college boy. He raped a girl behind a dumpster, and
what do you get, like a slap on the wrist?
yeah, essentially, he got a slap on the wrist. But
Yeah.
me, I'm sitting there thinking, if you know he raped that girl behind the dumpster, there is evidence saying, yeah, he raped this girl behind the dumpster.
And then they find like they convict the guy or whatever, or some like that's what I don't get. Like, okay, assault and battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can land you some serious charges if you choke somebody, in the state of South Carolina, like that can land you a felony, 5 to 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
like, minimum 5 if you're convicted on something like that. So for like first degree domestic violence. And here's the thing, if you rape somebody, I don't know of any more violent action on a male or female. Like,
No.
you're invading their body, like, without getting graphic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
no, well, they're definitely not only going to need medical attention, they're going to need psychological attention as well. Like you're talking years down the road.
I mean,
They're
it depends
still
on the person. I've heard some women. I mean, I really don't want to say anything crude in regard to the subject, as
right,
awful as rape.
right.
But some girls I know that they pick it up like they take their trauma like a champ, and they brute force through life. Some
That
girls, it breaks them for a long
yeah,
time. And, there obviously are guys in that situation too.
there are.
Like being molested by a family member or something like that, man. And
Well,
that's why I'm so big on this sort of thing, man. I knew, this is when I worked at a gas station years ago, over in Union, South Carolina. There was this kid. It always blew my mind. I actually got the police involved, where he would go to his friend's house, and the mom of the friend, this kid was 15, man. Like, he had two parents. They were both drunks. That one, like, his mom worked at the store at the time,
mhm.
and she would hit, like, his dad and his mom would sleep in their car outside the store, and I realized that he was there too all the time. So they were homeless. She worked there, but he'd go to his friend's house, and like the friend's mom would molest him, and I got the police involved. I mean, so it does happen to men too.
It does.
Like,
Not on as high of a scale as women.
Yeah,
But I
well,
mean, it does happen.
most young boys, I don't think mind as much. It's awful. That sounds awful when you say that.
No, it is. It is. It is. I think where we are culturally about. Oh, see, this is a.
It's
I mean,
really
our.
weird.
This
We're
is a
in dark
rant.
territory.
Yeah, if you get me into this rant, it will not stop, and this will be one of your longest podcasts
That's okay.
ever.
We're here. We're here for the long haul.
Um, men's. There's more attention being brought to it now,
Are you
but
talking about like an advocacy for men?
yes,
Yeah, no, it definitely
there
is
is
more attention
more
now.
now. And absolute the queen of it on the internet is her name is Roma Army,
Oh
and
yeah, I love Roma, man. Roma's
love
great.
Roma. Absolutely,
I didn't know you
just
watched her, but she's
dude, I do. She's she there's some things where she'll get fired up about it,
yeah,
and
no, she gets heated.
she
I
gets feisty.
yeah.
And but I'm glad more attention is being brought to male issues now. And actually I wanted to get, because you brought up Brent Kavanaugh and that kind of stuff, it started some later things, debates down the line with some individuals that I wanted to tell you about. But whenever it came to Brent Kavanaugh, right, I had the discussion, and they would of course hit me with the, you want to believe women. And I said, well, see, here's the problem with that is our court system runs on innocent until proven guilty. And I was like, and I think, yeah, it's supposed to. And I said, and I think that's the best way. And they said, well, what if that makes it harder to, catch someone? And I said, if you don't have evidence, I'm not going to put that person. I am not, because I am a big sponsor of, if it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't infringe on your rights or your property, it does not matter what if it's not hurting someone else or infringing on someone else's rights and property, then you leave them alone. Right.
So
now,
say that again for me. I missed that because I was interrupted.
So I am a big sponsor on, if someone is doing something that does not hurt you, infringe on your rights or your property, or hurt someone else or infringe on their rights and their property, it is none of your business. It's none of your concern.
Yeah.
And
let them grow their weed, man. Leave them alone.
Now, of course, the subject of rape, like rape infringes on that person's rights. It violates that person, right? So that is obviously a crime, should stay a crime, and I don't think there should be any what's the wiggle room for error. I think if you are proven,
it definitely needs to be a black and white, proven or not proven, evidence or not. I think where we get really messed up in our culture is where, man, we have these I don't know what to call them, like these Hollywood court cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the George Floyd thing or something like that. Now I get it that media has to be brought some of these things to attention, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But like, you get the vast majority of people where they're not paying attention to like the evidence that's coming out. Like, man, like the George Floyd thing. Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but like the way I started with this is like, okay, so I know what I saw on camera, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't look good.
Not at all.
Okay. And then, they have like a toxicology report and different things are coming out as to what was in the system or whatever. And, that started to form my opinion more. And my opinion on that's like neither here or there. But most people I know, as evidence wasn't even, barely even starting to come out. You know what I'm saying? They're like, throw this guy in the slammer. You know what I'm saying?
I think
I just can't stand that prejudgment that people have.
Yeah. See, and if somebody would have asked me, right, because I would have blended in with the people that you're saying that were bugging you, right? Because I saw the video and I made a judgment based on what I saw.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
my thing is like, okay, so yeah, now I'll tell you from like my opinion thus far. You
well,
know what I'm
that's what
saying?
I had to do because people would ask me about it, and I'd be like, my opinion as of right now, because
The
not all
facts
the
haven't
evidence,
all come in. Yeah.
yeah, not all the evidence has come in. Like I can't make a fully informed decision. But as of right now, the information that I've been given in the video that I saw, like misconduct on the police officer,
Yeah.
like there could have been steps taken differently. And now
Well, I
the
definitely think there was man, and this is do you know who Jocko Willick is?
mm-mm.
Okay, so he's like this buff Navy SEAL, like he's like the animal I want to become, like the spirit animal I want to be. But he was this Navy SEAL. He's got his own podcast. He's on with like Jordan and Joe Rogan. But he had a really good point about paying. Now, there's a lot of cities that don't want to fund their police anymore, and I understand where they're coming from. However, his thing was, man, if they put, you know, the type of training that goes in with, say, you know, most military members, you know,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, gave that to police officers, made them had to do like reoccurring training, man.
Mm-hmm.
Most college professions, you know, even I had my insurance license for a while. We had to go back for re-education.
Yeah.
And
I
I think
have
that
to.
should be happening for our police forces. I feel like not only do they deserve that, the people deserve better.
Yeah. Well, like for my job, because I'm active duty military,
Mhm.
I work on radios. We have
That's
training
awesome.
every week,
Do-
every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, training every week. Just because
Regarding your own
the
job.
well, yeah, and because the radios that I work on are vital to of course the Marine Corps will say every job is vital to keeping the gears moving, right?
Yeah.
Um, but like in all seriousness, like I work for air traffic control. I'm an air traffic control maintenance guy.
You didn't
So
have any planes blow up on you. You didn't like crash them
no,
together.
no,
You
no. Well,
just like,
I don't talk to the planes, but those are the controllers. But the radios that the controllers are using to talk to those planes are my responsibility.
I got you.
So like if those don't work, they can't fly planes. They can't fly planes. Like I work at an air station,
Yeah,
a
we're
Marine
in deep
Corps air
trouble.
station. Like if planes aren't flying in and out, nothing's getting done. You know,
Mhm.
like and so like that's a vital point of our job is like maintaining the gear and making sure that the controllers have a way to talk to the airplanes 100% of the time.
Well, think about it this way, man. Like with law enforcement, right? Like it's important that that is a crucial part of a republic is the rule of law. Okay,
Yeah.
so there has to be some form of executive branch, and regardless of what people want to think, you know, police, any enforcement of law, they're all part of that executive sort of power in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and that needs to be retooled. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That
I think where America failed with police is our lack of training.
Mhm.
Um, because am a firm First Amendment believer. And I have seen hundreds on hundreds of videos of guys walking down the street with a video camera, and a cop will pull up and stop them. Hey, what are you doing? And the guy's like, just walking. He's
Yeah.
like, well, the people around here are saying a guy's walking around with a video camera. I'm going to need you to stop. And then the guy's like, it's not illegal. It's my First Amendment right.
Yeah.
And he's like, it
And
doesn't matter.
I've never understood that, you know, like, man, there are so many people out there that
Well,
are,
see what happens a lot of times, and it happens a lot in like a little bit smaller police departments and smaller towns.
yeah,
Their police departments aren't exactly up to date on that being perfectly okay. And since it's not normal, because not everybody's walking around video and everything,
Yeah.
then the police will stop them because it's not the norm. And I think that's where I personally think, and if there is,
Well, and see, that's the thing, that it gets me, man, is like when you have a police society like that where something's just not in the normal spectrum of things. I get it, like, okay, you might ought to be careful if you're seeing people just dropping and leaving backpacks. That's kind of, what I'm
yeah.
saying? That
Well,
that would be
that's
something to train people on. But like I've seen just people go out and record, man, and regular adults, they're so not used to that they're flipping the heck out, man. Like,
mhm.
and I think people get way too in that comfort zone and realize that, man, you got to understand that people got the right to do whatever, man. Leave them alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd
Well,
be
see,
different if they were coming bothering you.
a lot of people don't know actually, and this is a interesting fact, and one
Yeah.
reason I will never live close to a public sidewalk. If it is visible from a public sidewalk, you can record it. That goes to the extent that if your house is right here and a public sidewalk's right here, a guy could legally set up a camera on a public sidewalk, zoom in through the window of your house, and photograph the inside of your house from the window.
That's like peepers creepers there, bro. That's
Yeah.
that's not cool at
No, it's
all.
not.
That's
It's
why I
not.
don't
But
mind living out. I really don't mind. Like I'm like 2 seconds away from the interstate, but my house is tucked off in like this
yeah,
small
that's why
tiny neighborhood.
I will never live close to a public sidewalk.
Yeah.
But if you choose to have where you live that close to a public space,
I mean,
like
you've kind of letting
you
yourself to, was it,
yeah.
the freedom of the press there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you gotta, keep your windows closed and stuff. But
Yeah. No, if I could have it my way, man, I would have like a 20-foot style Japanese wall around my whole perimeter.
of course it would
Like,
be a Japanese style wall, huh?
yes,
Are
yes, it,
you
it would be like that. And then my house would definitely have like 8 sections with like an interconnected Zen garden. Like,
if I had it my way, I would have about 120 acres private property, and in the dead center would be my house. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a show on Netflix called Peaky Blinders. Absolutely great show.
oh, I want to watch it.
It's about British mobsters in the 20s.
Yeah,
Absolutely, probably hands down one of my favorite like shows. Period.
yeah.
And they actually use a historical house called Arley Hall in England for one like a couple of seasons. It's one of the main character named Thomas Shelby. That's where he lives. That's
Yeah,
his
like
house.
that guy, I've seen like little TikToks of him and different scenes of Pinky Blinders. I've been meaning to get to watch it. That guy is bad to the bone.
It's good, bro. I love that show. I love it with a passion. Me loving psychology, actually, I freaking like I watch, of course, I watch a lot of Dr. Peterson, of course, and
Yeah.
I became a little bit of
I want to
a
listen to some more Alan Watts. I don't know how far like you've gone down like the rat.
I went down the rabbit hole with Alan Watts.
I haven't gone all the way. I want to.
Man's
He's more Eastern.
He is. He studied a lot of Eastern culture, Eastern religion, Buddhism, Taoism, stuff like that. And some of the things that he talks about, that he tackles, is like there are two videos in particular right off the top of my head. One of them is called Understanding the Mind of God. And he's talking about like in a objective manner, talking about a deitic being, like the type of thought process that has to be there. And he's talking about like similar to how whenever he talks about a deitic being, he talks similar to how the Taoist and I don't know if you've probably heard about it, a philosophy called Stoicism.
Yeah, no, I know Stoicism. Yes.
Okay, so you know how the Stoics
Stoicism. I mean, that's been around since like Paul the Apostle times, man.
oh yeah, well
It's
yeah,
long time going.
ancient Greek, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
Like the
believed
philosophy of
in
letting go, right? Like
yeah.
of
Well,
not
and
being so attached.
they believed in a dietic force that just kind of flowed through everything, and which I find to be funny that Stoics and Taoism have a lot in common. And
Well, one's
actually,
very Western, one's very Eastern. That's for sure.
well, yeah, but they're actually like if you compare their philosophy, like they're right here almost with each other,
Yeah,
except one is a religion and one is a philosophy.
yeah.
So the Western one was less religious, whereas Taoism was a religion. But fun fact about those, that's what actually the Force from Star Wars, that it's based off of Taoism.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
because
great.
the Taoism believe in something called the Tao, and it roughly translates to English as the way, and or like I think it's the way. Yeah, the Tao, like it's basically the deitic force that flows through all things. It's inside all things, yet it is all things. And I was like, that sounds familiar.
Let
And
me get a
then
read on them metachlorians there, boy.
Yeah, give me the metachlorian break.
Yeah. I think that's interesting, man. Christianity back when
like
was called the way too.
Yeah, I like
but
a lot of good stuff. Because I'm one of the people that I like to learn about why others believe what they believe.
Definitely, man. My thing is, how can you really be informed of how wrong you might potentially be if you aren't checking in on your own beliefs? Like, right. I had, so fun fact about me. Oh man, taking it off. This is the OnlyFans podcast over here. Hey. No, so when I was younger, and I don't know exactly what he meant by this, but he ended up being my Bible college president. But he said something to the effect of, he held the Bible up in the air and he's like, "We don't question this," and I'm like, okay. Like, no, like, I think if you're being as true to Christian principle as possible, you're definitely questioning it. I'm not saying like, now here's the thing with Christianity. Christianity is one of those religions that tells you should test it. You know what I'm saying? That tells you should, follow the truth no matter what it may be. And I think if you're not being careful with, like, if you're blocking yourself off to all variations of the truth, because I mean, obviously there's an objective truth that we all need to try to look for. And I think you should find it, like, come hell or high water. That's how I feel.
See, I get a lot of strange looks and I got a little bit of heat for it at first.
Yeah.
But like talking to my family,
that doesn't surprise me.
I was talking to my family about how I own a copy of the Satanic Bible.
Oh yeah,
and written by Anton LaVey, and I've read it cover to cover. And
you're a big reader. I'm not as big a reader. I'm very much an auditory person. I do read, but like, it's mostly news articles. Honestly.
Oh no, well no, I read. I read quite a bit. Sometimes
I'll go to bed, bro. Like, I'll go straight to bed. But like, when I want to know a fact or something, like I need source material, man. Or something like that, I got all kinds of books. But
we'll see, like I don't know. I just enjoy reading, especially whenever the writer is very good. Anton LaVey, actually,
I've watched some interviews of Anton LaVey. From what I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you've actually read it, it's not exactly just do what you type of please. It's not like a Satanism that is associated with necessarily like the biblical devil necessarily, whereas it's more like it's more of a case for freedom of the individual. Now, Do I think that's definitely the weirdest way to go about it. Now, the problem is like, okay, now in a society like ours, we do have to give adherence to the ability for someone to do things that we might consider reprehensible that don't exactly infringe on our rights or the rights of somebody else. And I think, man, that people get so up in arms, about we shouldn't allow things like that. I bet there's people right now like, if I were to ask them, should we ban a book like that? And they'd probably say, yeah. And we just start the whole Salem witch trial thing all over again. And I'm just not that type of guy. I just can't.
Anytime, we'll see how this came up, how it originally came up between me and some of my friends back home and family members was, I believe it was Oklahoma. It was either Oklahoma or Kentucky, one or the other. There was a 10 Commandments statue in front of their state capitol building.
Oh yeah. I've seen a number of things like about
and
that.
the Satanic Temple, which is actually different than the Church of Satan. So the Church of Satan was started by Anton LaVey.
Yeah.
There's actually
so they got denominations, bro.
Yeah. There are sects of Satanism the same way there are different denominations of Christianity.
It's good to know we ain't the only ones got problems.
So the Church of Satan actually isn't very politically active, whereas the Satanic Temple is. And just for anybody watching, I'm not a part of either, nor do I speak for them. So if for some reason,
you're a Satanist, you're a closet Satanist.
I guess, bro.
I don't know. You've read their Bible cover to. No, I'm saying, see, like, but that's the thing. That's how people around here sometimes act, man. Like, you start talking about, like, okay, I'll use. I have one buddy. I'm not afraid to bring him on. I'm afraid the topics we would end up discussing. Like, we would talk about something like, the possibility of like, because there are all kinds of people like the deny of the Holocaust and things like that, and and like to go over those claims, like investigate them legitimately or something like that, and and that's what a lot of people will do when they read different materials and stuff like that, to give it a fair shot in your ear. And like, you start saying things like that, and people aren't ready to hear that. They aren't ready to talk about some of those topics, and it's just be straight out of fear. That's what it is. They're afraid of what they don't understand.
Yeah, I had to move. I was in the kitchen. The wife was wanting to cook food, so kind of moved.
But go on with what you're saying.
So actually, my bookshelf behind me, those books actually aren't touching the wall right there because I took out the books from Ayn Rand. Usually it's completely stacked in. But you'll like this. You see those black books right there? They look like they're all together.
Yeah, I see them.
That's a Death Note, the full complete set in black edition.
Of what?
Death Note, the manga.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I have the full black edition right there.
Man, if I tell you, I was actually looking the actor up. His name's like Brad Swally. I can't remember, but the guy who actually plays like Light Yagami. Man, I wish I could sound like that guy. I love that guy's voice.
Yeah, well, it's still, I can remember this scene, and you've watched the anime, haven't you? Yeah. I'm gonna take a potato chip and eat it. I love that one phrase because he says it so seriously. And I'm gonna take a potato chip and I'm going to eat it. And I'm like, what? But no, yeah.
L was too cool for school, man. Like,
I know, right? But no, how I got a lot of heat on that, on the learning about Satanism, what it was and what they believed, because whichever state it was, either Oklahoma or Kentucky, one of them, the Satanic Temple said, okay, if you're going to have a 10 Commandments statue, since we have separation of church and state, or at least we're supposed to here in our country, then we would also like to have a statue of Baphomet there right beside it. And the people of the local area, the religious people of the area, man, they got mad. They got
I'll be
real
honest
mad.
and be like, yeah, I wouldn't be like, I'd look at the statue and be like, well, that's the price of living in a free country. Like,
Well, see,
but
like,
I wouldn't. You really can't say anything to that. Not really.
no,
I
and
mean,
because I mean they have a point, and I supported them because their compromise. Though they said, fine, if you don't want the statue there, then take down the Ten Commandments statue because it's on a state building's property, and that's showing favoritism towards one particular religion on like a state
yeah,
paid level.
and that's the thing. So like, in defense of like having a Ten Commandment situation where you have that hanging up in like your courthouse, the only response I would give to why like a courthouse has something like that is not so much the religious aspect of that, other than the fact that that is actually embodied in our court system. We really do believe in thou shalt not lie, those type of
Yeah,
situations. But at the
well,
same
it's
time, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Like, it's kind of like everybody has the right to do their protest. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Everybody has the right to have their representation in some sense. And it's, you know, I have no problem with that.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I
well,
mean, like, personally, I mean, like, yeah, I would not want it, but what are you gonna say?
well,
No, when
like
you got yours up?
yeah, well, and I think that's been my biggest hurdle with just talking to people about politics in general, because there are a lot of things that, especially people back home, since they morally disagree with it, and since they say they disagree with it because the Bible says this, I've hurt some feelings because I've told them that is not a good enough reason, and they're like, "What do you mean? It's the Bible." And I'm like, I don't like. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm not trying to disrespect the faith. I'm not trying, anything like
Yeah.
that. But like, whenever you're talking politically, it's just,
Well, here's the thing. It's a different realm. It's
yeah,
it's not it's not the same arena, man.
it's
Like,
not.
here's the thing. Not everybody's pastored by your Baptist church, man.
Yeah, and
You
well, see,
know,
that's what I told him. I said, not
that's
everybody's
something
Christian.
you personally submit to as an
Yeah,
individual, and you guys come together, you know what I'm saying? Or even me at one time, you know what I mean? But don't try to bring your personal faith, because here's the thing, man. They always are BSing, and about Islam. They don't want Sharia law and all this other, stuff like that. And like, I'm with you 100%, man.
hmm.
But like, you got to understand that that's a two-way street.
Well, see, that's I actually no, I made I have a family member who blocked me on Facebook because I told him because he one week he posted about how we shouldn't have Sharia law enforced in this country because I forget which state it is, but
Yeah.
I believe it's like Michigan or Minnesota, one of the two, one of the M starting states. But there's a small town where there's a high number of Islam um, believing people there, and there is a mini version of Sharia law currently being enforced in that town.
Oh man, that's really, see,
And
here's what gets me about that, right? Is, and I'll let you get back to your point, I
no, you're
promise.
good.
Uh Anything that supersedes an individual's ability to leave is not only a cult, but is, I mean, that's against the United States code, man. Like, you don't,
Yeah,
you can't tell another grown human being what they have to do and enforce it unless it's encoded in our legal system.
yeah, and see, and I agreed with him. I was like, yeah, like I don't think it should be that way either. And
Yeah.
I feel like the state government should step in and be like, hey, you can't enforce religious law here. Like that's not how this works in
Yeah,
America.
the same. We're not the country called the Vatican. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But
Like,
then we'll see, but then this same family member turn around and he was talking about enforcing the Bible via the law.
how so though? Just
Um,
curious.
particularly because it was it was last year around the same time. It was June, so it was Pride Month. So he was going up against gay people and gay pride, and he was talking about how they should have never been allowed to marry because the Bible says this, and we need to enforce the Bible
See,
via
you're
the law.
probably like me. Like, that's such a side issue because, like, I don't even know that straight people should have to be legally married.
Well,
Like,
see, yeah, to me, I don't think the government should have a hand in marriage anyways.
yeah.
But for someone to show like that level of, I want my religion to be enforced on another individual because I don't like their lifestyle, like that authoritarian mindset just doesn't, like, in the core of my being, there's just something in me that says, like, that's wrong. And I and I've told people this too because
Well, that's what it is. It's authoritarianism. Like,
yeah,
where you're encoding your personal idea. That's the beautiful thing about freedom, is that, like, you don't have to be the same. You know what I'm saying?
not at
There's
all.
like, and here's the thing: if you want your society to function properly, maximally, like, that means everybody should have enough freedom. And that's what people say is going to be the problem with China is, they get all these engineers and inventors, and it's, coming to a place where these guys are going to have to speak up more. Otherwise China, it might stop their development, might eventually stop. But that's why they've adopted a more capitalistic approach to even their form of communism, because in order to prosper, you got to have those free thinking type people.
You have to have room to grow, because if you just have a very controlled environment, it's not going to go out past your control unless it goes violently. And I don't think, whenever the riots were kicking off after George Floyd's death, I saw a lot of Republicans say, this is what anarchy looks like. This is what, and I was like, no, not really. I was like, and if anybody knows me, and you might disagree, Brandon, but if anybody knows me, they know I'm a strong advocate for some major reform on certain laws that the law doesn't say it targets the African American community, right? Okay. It doesn't say it blatantly, but whenever the ghettos were created, right? Okay. What ethnicity dominates the quote unquote ghettos of America?
Well, so if you wanted to group them by ethnicity, obviously that'd be like a Black, African American type culture. I will say, I don't think it has so much to do with the ethnicity as it has to do with poverty.
Well, yeah, and I'll get to that. So, I think it's a two-part thing. It's a legal thing and it's a cultural thing. Okay. And I have Black friends who agree with me, but I'm not trying to be that guy. I'd be like, oh, I got Black friends that did it. No, I got this idea from one of my buddies, and he thinks this way about the African American community, and he is African American. He says that, one of the number one things that's keeping the Black community where it's keeping is the heightened how much they depend on the government, and the lack of traditional, like, family. There, a lack of fathers and a heightened dependency on government welfare and stuff like that. And like he says it as someone who grew up with, a single mother who depended on welfare. And
I think welfare can be useful. It just depends on your mindset with it. However, like, oh man, I don't think bottom line that it is helpful.
I don't.
For any culture. I mean, I think there's something to be said for people who are disabled.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where, like, my libertarianism kind of draws a line, because there are people who really should be able to make their own decisions without depending on someone else. And I think it is people who are, like, disabled. But when it comes to, like, say, food stamps or stimulus money or, government housing. Mm-mm. I'm not a big fan. And the reason being is because like, it's like declawing a cat. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
Yep.
you send them out into the woods. They're never going to leave your house, man. They can't defend
You know,
themselves. They can't
well,
take
they
care of
get
it.
they get
It's like
dependent on it.
crippling them.
Yeah. Well, and I, I've especially because we're from the South.
Yeah, as I
Uh,
said there. I do love it here. For anyone that's watching, like, don't misunderstand. Like,
oh
as
no,
far I love living here.
it's cheap. The land is cheap. It's pretty. There's a lot of
Sometimes
forests.
the people are too. I'm just kidding.
Some no, there are genuinely good
There's a lot of good people
individuals.
out here.
There's a lot of good people. But I think culturally there is a sort of attitude right now, especially where we live in upstate South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
that overshadows that amount of good people. Because I know plenty of good people, but whenever I speak about the South as a whole, it's in a negative light because of the type of mentality that has kind of
Well,
dominated.
I mean, okay, so just knowing where who you're friends with, who you're family with, and things like that, I definitely have a much better picture of where you're coming from. And a lot of me, man, I'm telling you, like, especially like in the churches in this area, man, and I used to do ministry, but I would get so much flack for like one of my best friends right now. She's a lesbian. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Mhm.
agree on whether that's like a moral or not,
Yeah.
but like still a great individual, someone that I can lock arms with and be like, we got each other's back. We got each other's six.
Mhm.
And what
People aren't okay with that. People are, and I've met like there's a lot of churches that would give you and probably have give you flack for being friends with a lesbian.
Yeah,
Um,
no, definitely. Like the church, I mean, my buddy's church who I had on last week, Guitar Adams. I don't
mhm.
think that they would have like a problem like that. But the Baptist crowd, because for to them, and I understand where they're coming from. Like the homosexual lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, is an affront to like all their belief about like the nucleus of the family. And yeah, it's the same way for me. But like it's not your life, bro. Like
Yeah,
it's really not. Like, why are
yeah.
you so up
Well,
in arms? Like when you could be making like, and the scripture says if you want to get like Bible with it, like make friends with the children of mammon. They'll lift you up in due time. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never understood people who alienate other people.
I'm trying to tiptoe a little bit because I don't want you to lose viewers. I
Dude, go, dude, lock and load,
I got some
fire
I got
away.
some I got some very strong opinions about there's one church in particular, and people would say I hold a grudge. I don't hold a grudge against any well, I don't hold
I
grudges.
feel like I can already
You
uh
try
I just
I'm not
is
gonna
it
I'm
I shouldn't just
no no
just
I'm
go.
not gonna
Let's
name the
not
church.
name names. That's not good.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna name the people, I'm not gonna name the church, but it really rubs me the wrong way whenever a church will tell a homeless man to get out, right? Because he ain't dressed the right way or he's making people uncomfortable.
Yeah, man, get out of town. Like I cannot believe like
Oh, but it gets better. It gets better, Brandon. Just give me a second.
it's
It's good. I gotta get some self restraint because I get angry, like real angry about this topic. Like
like if you
I get
actually believe the Bible, it kind of should. Like I'm not saying that you do. I don't know where you're at with all that, but like what gets me is that there are such big tenets of Christianity that God judges, not on the outward appearance according to the Bible, but on the inward. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? Don't misunderstand. Like, I think that you should carry yourself presentably if you can. but
the
that's
present
not my place to go, you
right.
know.
Well, I just think it's funny how this church will ask someone to leave based on appearance and the fact that they're making people uncomfortable, but then they struggle to and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to kick a pedophile that was caught in the act out of their church.
Oh,
it rubs me the wrong way, to say the
no.
least. It
No,
really
and that's
grinds
that's the
my
type of thing that's getting people to run and head for the hills, because they know that, like, man, they can do this better on their own. Like,
yeah, and
it's
it grinds my gears, man. It
you know what grinds my gears?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just think of
No, I was
the
thinking of it too. It really grinds my gears. No,
no.
and it does, man. It just really, and the this particular church has a very elitist attitude also in concern to other churches around it.
So
And
stupid. It's so stupid.
it
I've
just
never I've never understood that, man. And that's one of the reasons, like, in don't misunderstand, because anybody that's watching this, they know where I come from and things like that. So it definitely is no shame on any of the people that I fellowship with, but I definitely don't like the culture of that. It's almost produced by the way they act about people who don't agree with them on everything, where you have to almost be a level of fake. And I can't ride like that anymore, man. Like, I just can't. I got too much at stake in my life to be playing any games with people.
I don't,
and not that I ever did, like, but I'm not going to take flack for it. Not for being real.
I did at one point in time. I went to that church. Went to that church as I was a regular. Even to this name, the people of the church, they know me. They know me very well.
Yeah.
They probably don't like me very much anymore.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I mean, sometimes it's like that. People get very immature when it comes to like their church, when they really need to, like, maybe, I'm not saying like take the criticism to heart, but take it objectively.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, okay, so we have this really good guy that's definitely doesn't want to be part of us anymore. And, like, that should say something.
Yeah. Like,
you know what
why?
I'm saying?
Yeah. Why do they find such a fault, right?
Yeah. Now, maybe be a difference, like, if you just had like objections to the religion itself, and that wasn't and that was your objection. Like, okay, well, he really just doesn't believe anymore. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But when
there's nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah, and it's not like you're going out and character assassinating everybody, but those type of things in an organization should make you want to leave.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, see, now if anybody asked me, like, for anybody, actually, if somebody that goes to that church listens to your podcast, Brandon, I know
I'm sure it's gonna get everywhere, man. Like,
well,
I got ambushed yesterday, man. Like,
the oh, hi, wife.
Said hi, wife.
She's trying to sneak into the podcast. That's what she's doing.
She can come on too. Doesn't bother me.
No, but there were some people that agree with me that actually go to the church who were very, very upset that it took as long to deal with that issue as it did. And I have a little bit more fiery opinions on that. But I can't tell them what to do about that situation.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the thing about churches, man. Is there what is because they're they're the ones following the Bible, and hopefully I am too. But it says that you're supposed to judge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to church, that means you all got to really pay attention. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To what's going on and how you guys are being perceived and seen. And man, I haven't seen anything like that go on firsthand, because I would be livid. I'm telling you. But for me, what got me is the lack of being able to be open. That was like the biggest critique I have in this area of like say the churches that I really have a heart for, which would be like where I come from, would be like the Independent Fundamental Baptists.
Mm-hmm.
And I still would consider myself like a fundamental Christian, and mostly. But I don't hold to all their tenets. But like as far as I guess I would say I'm like the type of person that does believe like the Bible is true, and I try to live that out in my own life. And that's what gets me the most is really the lack of being able to be open about what you believe and be having all those open discussions. Because here's the thing, man, like I don't understand, like, how are you guys ever really going to grow if if you can't talk about things? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get the idea that nothing's new under the sun. I understand what they mean by that. But I also understand that, a man that judgeth the matter before he heareth it, it's a folly and a shame unto him. That's a quote in Proverbs, and that's what gets me, man, is they already have like so many preconceived notions. And yeah, everybody has that. But like, if we can't talk about it, then, and you just write people off all the time just because they're not like you, man. Like, I don't like that. I'm so done, so over that.
Yeah, see, well, because I was raised around that, I actually I coined myself, not exactly proud of it. It's just an objective fact about me. I have a really good social like mask whenever it comes to be able to like fake it till you make it kind of thing.
Oh
right?
God, I hate that phrase. I understand what you mean though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of that phrase either because I don't fake it anymore. I don't have a reason to. I'm just very blunt, and that's lost me some friends. I've lost quite a few. Actually, I think me and you have had this discussion. I think one of the quickest times I've ever lost a mass amount of friends was it was a couple years back whenever the Fat Pride movement jumped on the back of the LGBTQ
The what
movement.
What pride movement?
Fat Pride movement.
Like large
And,
people fat pride?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And
I need to get in on this. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Brandon. Hey.
Sorry, I got jokes. Go on.
No, I'm fine with jokes. I have a level of dark jokes that I posted one last year and somebody commented and was like, how do you find this funny? And I was like, dark humor. Because it was about, I don't want to mention it because I don't want people.
Yeah, it's fine if you don't. I understand, man. I've literally silenced whole rooms. I like in work, just me being me, like a dummy.
Yeah,
like
I got some.
But you're go on about your. You got some flack for.
Oh yeah, and I posted this thing talking about how like because they are pushing for so much like fat acceptance, right? And I'm perfectly fine with accepting who you are and being confident in who you are, right?
Well, I don't know that. Like, I'll say it like this: I don't think you should be proud to be fat. Like, I'm a big guy. Don't misunderstand. Like, I do accept the fact that I am what I am, and I do have to work with what I got. Don't misunderstand. I got a lot more than others. Ew, I'm just joking. But at the same time, man, it's not healthy. No matter how you slice that, most of the time, being overweight is exactly that. It's undue stress on your body.
Yeah, well, see, what caught me a lot of flack was sorry, my wife brought me a fried pickle.
Okay, go ahead.
What caught me a lot of flack was I was saying like, you shouldn't support Fat Pride, and people were thinking that I was just being hateful and mean, and I was like, no, it's just not. It's not healthy to be like so. Like, I understand that some people are just naturally big. I have family members who are just naturally big. Like, they have to really watch what they eat, or they will gain weight really easy.
Yeah, man, I lose weight and gain weight really fast. That's how I've always been. Like, it doesn't, like, it can literally be a year, man, and it depends on whatever my lifestyle choice is that year. Like, some people, they can just kind of put whatever in their body and it kind of is more or less stagnant. Yes, you right there.
Yeah.
So I'm not that case, man. Like if I start making changes, like the right type of changes, or like I get into a job where I'm not sitting down, like it'll start falling off, dude. It start
Yeah.
falling. Like
Well, see,
I'm
like,
amazed. Like that's what it does sneak up on me too when I gain it. Same way.
yeah. And, people told me, they were like, I told them, I was like, it's just not healthy, and in context to the post that I made, it was talking about this woman that was like 5'4", but like over 300 pounds. And in context to her height and body weight, right? I was talking about,
sounds like me. Sounds like me.
Brandon.
I'm like literally, I'm like 5'3", and it's like it's the same.
Yeah, well, I was talking about, later on down the line, if she maintains that weight or gains more weight, like the health problems that could arise.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like that's what I'm worried about,
Yeah, and like I started talking about how like people don't realize it, but fat,
your heart's got to support that stuff, man.
Well, people don't realize fat will actually gather around your heart. You will have like layers
and your
of
liver.
Fat. Yeah, and your liver. And I was talking about how that can cause problems. And I'm not saying, hate yourself, quit
I'm
eating.
going to the gym after this podcast, and this is like, man, you are pumping me. Go ahead.
And I'm not talking about, hate yourself and be depressed and stuff like that. No, I want people to be, I
want them to accept the fact you need to go lose some of that. Like I can't like I can say that, like, because look at me, man. I'm the same boat as some of these people. You dirty bastard eating that fried pickle over there. But my thing is, like, I just don't understand how you can't understand. That's what's getting me, man, about a lot of modern movements right now is they are science deniers, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, whatever position you may be in life, like, don't deny what's obviously objectively in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't help you at all.
Like, you posted this picture and you were talking about, having a little bit like more confidence in yourself. Confidence looks good on you, Brandon. No homo, but
Did I post something like that, or are you just talking about like in general?
No. You posted. It was like a months ago, maybe half a year ago. It's been a little while, but you posted a picture of yourself, and I think you had started going to the gym or something like that.
Maybe.
And
some weeks I'm like, yeah, I'm on top. You couldn't tell me crap. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And other weeks I'm like, I'm just.
The picture radiated confidence, and I was like, you know what? Good for him. I'm happy for him. And like, it's not that. And that's what people kept, like, I guess, misunderstanding was like they thought I was just being like a hateful, mean, little spiteful asshole, saying you're so fat, you need to go lose weight. And I was like, no, I want you to be confident in yourself, but I also want you to live as long as you can without health problems.
Yeah.
Like,
But they are so fat and do need to lose weight.
like,
I mean, but that's what it is. Like, no, I'm not, and I'm definitely not like Mr. Fat Shame, because you guys know where I'm coming from. But anybody who knows me, man, like, and I people have called me like the most active fat guy that they know, but I don't know why, but I definitely, man, I see people that have like, and I'm the same. That's what's caused a lot of this mess, that sedentary lifestyle, and you got to break out of that, man. I'm not you personally, because I'm sure you're not, but like, if you're watching this and you get offended that somebody thinks you're a little extra large and in charge, there's a reason for that. Like, if you think that doesn't affect the way people perceive you, you're crazy. If you don't think that's going to affect your health and what you want to feel like going to do, some people wonder why they just have this awful, boring lifestyle. And man, it's because you're not getting out of the house. Your body doesn't even want to do it anymore. You've conditioned your body to literally have a crap life.
I'm a homebody. You attacked me there a little bit. I'm a homebody. I will stay in my house.
I would too, but like, I have to get out, man, because otherwise I'll just rot away. Like, I'll start having back issues. Like, I've had to fix some of that stuff by getting out. Like, I've had to lose, like, I've lost 60 since 2019. I want to lose a lot more. I got a lot. like I want to lose, oh, I don't know, like 125
Now,
pounds.
yeah. Now you used to be bigger,
Bigger than
and
I am right now. Yeah, there's definitely a larger point for sure. But
and you see where I'm coming from on that topic though, right?
yeah,
Like,
and
you
even
know,
when I was bigger then, like I never took up for it. Like, are you
yeah.
crazy? Like, of
And
course
see,
they're
no,
right.
and I've yeah, and I think that level of blunt honesty, because that's where this whole conversation started, was I've lost like that was the biggest point where I had tons of people unfollow, unfriend, block. Like the minute I said
I
something
think your
about,
Facebook account lost some weight. I'm
yeah,
just
it did. Yeah, it did. My Facebook. Hey, I was talking
you,
about, being healthy, and if you have to lose a couple of pounds to be healthy, lose a couple of pounds. And my Facebook said, okay, boop, boop, boop. That number
yeah,
went
and I
down.
know that's not popular anymore. I don't like, man, but
Well, see,
people they drive me nuts. But anyhow,
people think, people think it's like just me being mean, because they're like, you don't know what it's like. You've always been
yes, you're
skinny. And I'm
so
like,
mean, Leyton. Just so
yeah,
mean to fat, poor fat people.
dude, I don't like, people just think like in particular, I love her to death, but I am brutally honest with her. My dear mother-in-law, she thinks I'm one of the meanest people on the planet.
Bro, that's
Um,
every mother-in-law. You're not alone.
she does. She thinks I am the meanest person on the planet because she says I'm just too honest. That I don't. She's like, you got to care about people's feelings. I was like, I care more about them than about how, like, their feelings. If I see
See, I'm
something,
I'm always I'm very, I'll say this, I'm a very empathetic person by nature. Like
see,
I don't I understand the idea of not wanting to avoid conflict because it's not helpful. It's not.
mm-hmm,
It's really not helpful. My nature is not that. My nature is to avoid conflict.
mm-hmm. Keep the
However,
peace, right?
I've definitely experienced a fair enough that I will initiate a bad conversation if it means it might better you. And my best and one of the best people I have in my life, because I'm very, hopefully we didn't lose that.
Yeah, I hope. Well, you froze and you were about like in this moving position right here.
I was probably talking about trade agreeableness.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, you were talking about the trade agreeableness. Yeah. I've done the Big Five assessment. Jordan Peterson talks about it, and
well, okay, so here's the thing. We've been running for 2 hours and
oh really?
almost 30 minutes. So what I'm gonna do, because my computer actually needs to, I think it saved everything we just did. So my
Okay.
computer just, so let me tell you what I'm working with. I'm working
All
with
right.
like a 2011 laptop.
Okay.
And I'm still getting my hardware in order to do all this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first time it's crashed on me in middle of one or middle of a video call. I haven't had that problem yet, but yeah, she died out on us. Like she just
All right.
decided to crash. But
Um.
yeah, man, I definitely want to pick this conversation up like again, like because this was great. I enjoyed every minute of this.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It was definitely a pleasure meeting you, man.
I know. Well, it hurts you don't remember me because I remember meeting you in person.
Well, I mean, I'm so sorry. Like I'm telling you, especially
I'm
when
just
I was probably in the ministry at the time, especially when you met me in church. I met so many. Your face is very familiar, but I can't like recall an instance where I met you. Let me tell you a funny story before I actually so you don't feel too bad, because this has happened a lot.
I'm just
Uh,
kidding, man. It's fine.
but okay, well, there was this girl I was gonna date or whatever, and she was telling me, the first time she saw me and everything like that. And I'm just honest. I'm like, man, I really don't remember the first time I met you. I remember when I noticed you finally, but like, I'm bad about
Finally.
that. Like, it's not like she wasn't a good looking, she was a great looking girl. I don't remember. I remember because I try not to make first impressions too big of a deal. Um, I like to delve in to get to know somebody first.
Mhm.
Before that's what imprints on me,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel so bad like that. I don't remember you. So, like, I
No, no, it's all right. Well, we have to make this one a two-parter to get everything in.
I don't. So what I'll do is I'll probably splice this just right on the other recording. Um, but so yeah, we can get it all in. I
Okay.
think YouTube can handle it too. If I'm not mistaken. I don't think they have a time limit on it.
Huh? Mhm. Okay. I was just saying, like, if we needed to stop right now and then pick it up later,
Oh
you
no,
just let
no,
me
we
know.
could definitely. I can get with you like on Messenger and get us something scheduled out because I definitely want to have more of these. I actually met somebody yesterday that I definitely want to have on too. So man, I got like 4 people in line already, and I think yeah, you're probably going to be reoccurring for sure. This was
Oh,
great.
really?
This
Okay.
is great. If you don't mind, like I
No, no, no. I
definitely
don't
want to have
mind
you
at all.
back.
Yeah, no, I don't mind at all.
You just seem like a
I have.
free thinker, man. It's that goes so far with me that you don't even understand. Oh, you
Well,
do
like,
because you lived here.
yeah. I. It's hard to find people that think similarly to me. So whenever I find people, aka you, that's why the minute I saw it, like you reposted one of my freedom thinking
Probably. I've
posts.
there's a lot that I repost of like
Yo, yeah, I know. That's why I've messaged you a couple of times. We've had our discussions in Messenger and stuff. And
yeah.
then I saw some anime stuff on your page and I was like, he likes anime? I like anime. And I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
tends to man uh, there's a lot of people who like when
um,
once they cross that threshold of they like anime and they
yep.
either like the Bible or like are kind of on the same political spectrum. It's like lock and key, man. Like
Yeah, we're good. We get
yeah,
along. Yeah.
yeah, we'll go on forever. But man, like I said, thank you so much for coming on and tell your beautiful family hey, and you guys take care. Hopefully, you have a great time when you come back.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't able to give you like a closure. Oh, we're wrapping up the podcast because it
I think the
froze.
computer wanted to. The computer's like,
Yeah.
okay, he's done. He's done.
Yeah. The computer was like, "Hey, Brandon, you're getting him started on a
Well,
whole
I don't
nother
think there
topic."
has to be a closure. I think it just has to be this is what it is for now. And we'll catch back up later, man.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. We
Thank you.
definitely will
Thank
have
you. Like
to.
I said, thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure, really.
Yeah. Next, I'll try to mark it down so that I remember for next time. We got to pick up where we left off. Because I'm a big nerd whenever it comes to the Big Five and the
Let me throw that in my notes real quick. I'll jot that down. Like we'll just pick up, say we left off on the big five
yeah,
personality traits.
yep.
Because I could talk about that all day.
I'm a big nerd whenever it comes. Well, not only the Big Five, like I also started because Jordan Peterson talked about him, Carl Jung.
Yeah.
I started reading Carl Jung stuff and the MBTI personality, like how
Where would
it.
you start with Carl Jung? God, we're starting again. We're getting
Oh,
going again.
we are. Okay, we'll have to pick this up next time. Like Carl Jung, Jordan Peterson, Big Five. You
Yes.
write that
Okay.
down, and yeah, we'll get it
Okay.
started.
Awesome, man. Thank you again. You have a great rest of your day and take care of yourself.
You too, man. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.